What's up guys, this is Jake from Southside Strength. I'm going to make a video today about personally my favorite programs and the programs that I've used myself and I use on a lot of my clients. Now, the programs that I'm going to talk about are mainly for building strength and building muscle. A byproduct of these programs is going to be general, maybe a little bit of general conditioning, if the eating is right, fat loss and all that. But the main concern here is going to be building strength and building muscle. So the very first program on the list, I almost have all of my clients starts with this program, sometimes no matter what their goals are, and that is starting strength. So this is the classic starting strength by Mark Rippetoe, and it's squat, bench, deadlift, overhead press, 3 sets of 5 with 1 set of 5 on deadlift. You basically just do squat, bench, deadlift every day, and then you add 5 to 10 pounds every session. The only difference is that you flip-flop bench and overhead press. So on day 1, it might be squat, bench, deadlift, and then on day 2, it'll be squat, overhead press. If you're in the beginning stages, deadlift, and then you'll switch and you'll keep that rotation going. Sometimes this changes along the way because you can't really, if you're doing a lot of weight, deadlift 3 times a week. But as far as a basic principle, starting strength is a great program. I always see results when I have a client do starting strength, and it's very quick results. You don't have to, train for months just to get a 5-pound PR. You're hitting PRs every single time. Now, the only thing with this, you can really only do this program if you're a novice. If you've been training consistently, making PRs for like 2 years, you might not be able to do starting strength. So next, I would say Texas Method. Texas Method, again, by Mark Rippetoe, is a great transition from starting strength. So a lot of my clients, especially if they're trying to build strength, I'll have them start with starting strength or like a modified version of starting strength, and then they'll go into some form of Texas Method. So Texas Method is where 1 day out of the week, you do a 5-rep max on squat, bench, and deadlift, and then there's like a recovery day in the middle, and then there's a 5x5 day. So if you look at day 1, actually it starts with 5x5. So if you look at day 1, you do 5x5 with a certain lift, or all of your lifts except for deadlift. Then you do a recovery day, and then you hit new 5-rep maxes, and you do that weekly. And that's going to be weekly progression, so you try to increase your 5-rep maxes either 5 or 10 pounds every week. The only difference with that is that starting strength, you're increasing it every day. With Texas Method, it's every week. So that's why it's a pretty good transition period. It allows your body to adapt a little bit more, other than being driven into the ground by starting strength day after day. Okay, now getting out of the starting strength realm, I also really like 5-3-1. This is a great program for beginners, especially I would say more like late beginners / intermediates, because you're going to need to know your 1-rep max. I wouldn't have a complete novice start 5-3-1. I'd rather have a complete novice start either starting strength or this program I'm about to share with you in a minute. But after somebody has been training for a few months and they have a general idea of what their maxes are, I would have them do 5-3-1. Now 5-3-1 is basically monthly progression. So every month you increase weight to your quote-unquote 1-rep max. Now I'm not going to go into a lengthy description of what 5-3-1 is, but the reason why I personally really like it for myself and clients is it introduces AMRAPs. And AMRAP stands for as many reps as possible. So on any given day, you may have, for example, squat, and you need to do whatever 200 pounds for at least 5 reps for 1 set. So I like this because it's the minimum it gives you is extremely attainable. Like on your worst day ever, you'll be able to get that minimum. So it really aids making people feel good about their session. So like if they only have to get 5, more than likely they'll probably get like 10, or they'll get like 8 or something like that. And you can even go ahead and try to, on a smaller scale, gauge your progression based on your AMRAPs. So like on week 1, if you do 200 for 10 reps, next week you have to do 210 for 3+, try to hit another 10 reps, and that shows progression right there. So it's easier to squeeze reps out of people than it is to squeeze weights out of people. That's why I like 5-3-1. The only thing with 5-3-1 and a lot of these other programs, you're gonna need to add in a little bit of accessory work, because with 5-3-1, the only thing I don't like about it is you only have to squat like once a week. And I don't really think you're gonna get much progress squatting only once a week. So that's just the principle. You can add whatever you want, you know, sprinkled in throughout 5-3-1. And then the last program, now I don't know if this is like a legitimate program, but it's one of these programs that gym bros and, you know, people, your dad has always done before, and it's a basic 3x10. But the way that I approach 3x10, if we're talking about, you know, your main core lifts, is that you do 3x10 with all of your lifts, so like squat, bench, deadlift, overhead press, except on the last set, you try to do an AMRAP. So you try to get 10+. So hypothetically, let's say you're benching 225 for 3 sets of 10. On your last set, do an AMRAP with at least 10 reps. If you get more than 10 reps, then you'll bump it up 5 pounds next time. If you don't get more than 10 reps, then you do it again. So the only way you can add weight is if you beat 10 reps on that last set for your AMRAP. And then again, you can do that for all your lifts. I would say if you're doing deadlifts with this, either ramp your way up or just do 1 set of 10+. You ain't got no business doing 3 sets of 10 deadlifts unless you're doing kind of like a lighter weight. All right, guys, but yeah, if you're a beginner, novice, intermediate, you know, maybe a beginning stages of intermediate, I would suggest these programs. Of course, there are plenty more, but these have worked great for me and a lot of my clients. All right, guys, talk to you later.